I bought new glasses last week. They were nothing fancy, black rectangular frames, discounted at a tiny optician's shop I'd never noticed before. No brand. No case. Just a dusty shelf, a quiet old man behind the counter, and lenses that somehow made everything look perfect. Too perfect. I remember slipping them on for the first time and feeling like I'd been walking around half-blind my entire life. The world snapped into focus. Edges sharpened. Colors deepened. Shadows had depth. I could see the texture on the walls of my apartment, individual fibers in my bed sheets, tiny cracks in the floorboards I'd never noticed. It felt amazing. At first, the weird stuff didn't start until later that night. I was brushing my teeth when I noticed something in the bathroom mirror. Behind me, standing in the hallway, there was a tall, thin figure. Not moving, not approaching, just standing. Its body looked unfinished, like someone had started sculpting a person but stopped halfway. Blurry edges, no face, no clothes, almost pixelated. I spun around. Nothing there. Hallway empty. I took off the glasses and looked again. Still empty. Put them back on? It was gone. Okay, tired. Brain playing tricks. I'd been staring at screens all day. I went to bed early that night, but I didn't sleep. Every time I blinked, I saw that thing in my mind. Staring. Waiting. Like it hadn't left. Just stepped sideways into some place I couldn't see. The next morning, I wore the glasses again. Everything looked sharp. Alive. But now I noticed other things too. People on the train had shadows that didn't match their movements. One guy's shadow kept turning its head when he didn't. Another woman's reflection in the window blinked when she didn't. And a child. A little girl holding her mother's hand. She had no eyes behind her glasses. Just black. No pupils. No whites. Just endless black circles that followed me until the train stopped. I yanked the glasses off. My vision went blurry, distorted. But at least the world looked normal again. For a while. I told myself I was just overtired. New glasses. Eye strain. Stress. Whatever. I didn't wear them for the rest of the day. That night, though, I had a dream. I was standing in the hallway of my apartment. It was pitch dark except for a single beam of light, like from a flashlight. In that light, standing completely still, was the unfinished man. Except this time, he was wearing my glasses. I woke up gasping, sweating. The dream was so vivid it felt like I'd actually been standing there, in the hallway, staring at something that didn't belong in my world. Something that wore my face. I didn't wear the glasses the next day. Didn't even touch them. Left them on the kitchen counter like a cursed object. Like they'd burn me if I picked them up again. But by the evening, curiosity got the better of me. Just for a second, I thought. Just to check. I put them back on. And the world shifted. Not in a dramatic, obvious way. Nothing moved. Nothing jumped out. But things weren't right. The corners of my apartment seemed to stretch a little farther than they should. Straight lines, like countertops and door frames, were just slightly crooked. Almost like the space itself had been warped, like a digital image stretched too far. I blinked, and for a split second I saw writing on the wall. Not paint, not marker, something deeper etched into the surface. Letters in a language I didn't recognize. They faded as soon as I focused. But they were there. And then the whispering started. Soft at first, just barely audible. Like a voice coming from another room with the door almost closed. But there was no one else here. I live alone. No pets. No roommates. Just me. And the voice was behind me. I turned. Nothing. Turned again. Still nothing. And then I caught it. Just for a fraction of a second. In the reflection of the microwave door. A figure. Leaning in. Thin. Twisted. Like a corrupted version of me, stretched out and flickering like bad reception. I tore the glasses off again and threw them across the room. They hit the wall and landed behind the fridge. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the floor with every light on, a kitchen knife in my hand. Listening. Breathing. Waiting for a sound that never came. But even without the glasses. Even in the normal world. Something had changed. Because when I walked past the hallway mirror the next morning, my reflection didn't look back. It just stood there, motionless, like it was waiting for me to turn around again. I stopped looking in mirrors. Just stopped. Brushing teeth, shaving, walking past the bathroom. I kept my eyes down, because the reflection wasn't always doing what I was doing. Sometimes it stood still a little too long, blinking too late, smiling when I wasn't. And once, it moved before I did. I should have thrown the glasses away, burned them, crushed them, something. But I didn't, because I needed to know. I needed to understand what I saw, what I was still seeing, even without the glasses now. That night, I retrieved them from behind the fridge, dusted them off, put them on. Instantly, my entire apartment sighed. That's the only way I can describe it. Like the walls exhaled, relieved to finally be seen for what they really were. The wallpaper, which I thought was beige, now pulsed with something like veins. The wood floor had patterns that twisted like fossilized fingerprints. And in the center of the living room ceiling, where the light bulb hung, I saw an eye, closed, but twitching. I backed into the hallway. The walls whispered again. This time I listened. They weren't words, not human ones, but there was rhythm, intent, a shape behind the sound. And then I realized, it wasn't the walls whispering. It was everything. The doorframe, the fridge, the mirror, even the dust in the air was vibrating, like it was trying to form a sentence. I turned to the window, hoping to ground myself. Outside, people were walking by as usual, but they weren't quite, right? Their faces blurred slightly at the edges, like the skin was only loosely attached. Some walked with jerky, repetitive movements, like they were stuck in a loop. And some were looking straight at me, not at my apartment, at me, across the street, through the glass, through the light, through the walls. Eyes locked, unblinking. And the worst part? They started to smile. All of them. Wide, toothy, stretched, like their skin forgot how to hold itself together. I ripped the glasses off, fell backward, cracked my head on the wall. Sat there on the floor, hyperventilating. But even without the glasses, their faces were still smiling in my mind, like they'd already gotten in. I don't know what day this was. I stopped checking. Clocks didn't make sense anymore. The second hand kept skipping backward. I kept the glasses off, taped them inside a shoebox, wrapped the box in a hoodie, shoved it under the bed, and still, I saw them. Reflections in things that shouldn't reflect. A puddle on the sidewalk, the back of a spoon, the screen of my phone. Even when it was off, the world had cracks now. And the things behind them, they were getting closer. I tried to act normal, go outside, buy groceries. But the moment I stepped out of the apartment, I knew I wasn't in the same place anymore. The sun was too bright, too still. The clouds weren't moving. And the people, their faces looked drawn on, smiles like masks, eyes that didn't blink, or blinked out of sync. One man turned to look at me and his mouth was on the wrong side of his face. I dropped my basket, ran home. Only it wasn't home anymore. The door was my apartment door. But inside it was mirrored. Everything reversed. Furniture flipped. Light switches on the wrong side. Even the photos on the wall, the ones I took myself, they were flipped. And worse, I wasn't in any of them anymore. Just empty rooms. Chairs. Walls. No people. No me. That night I finally opened the box again. The glasses were warm, like something had been wearing them. I put them on, and this time I didn't see my apartment. I saw through it, beneath the walls, behind the floorboards, crawling between the layers of reality. They were there. Not spirits. Not ghosts. Something else. They looked like people if people were built wrong. Like mannequins that got bored pretending to be human. One of them was sitting on my couch, watching me. Another was in the mirror, not behind the glass, inside it. And the one closest, it wore my old hoodie, the one I used to love, the one I'd thrown out months ago. It turned its head slowly like a broken marionette. And then it said something. I couldn't hear the words, but I understood. It said, "You're on the wrong side now." I tried to take the glasses off. I really did. But they wouldn't budge. Not physically, mentally. Even when they weren't on my face, I was still seeing through them. Everything looked wrong now. Too sharp, too clear, like the world was made of layers of skin, and something had peeled the top one off. My phone didn't work. Every call was static. Every screen showed the same image. Me, sleeping, in real time, from above. I smashed the phone. Didn't help. The noises started next. Scraping behind the walls. Whispers coming from the fridge. Footsteps pacing under the floor. Then came the knock. 3 slow knocks. On the bedroom closet door. The same closet I hadn't opened in years. I didn't move. Couldn't. Then again. Knock. 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 I stood. Walked to the closet. The door handle was ice cold. I pressed my ear against it. Nothing. Then a whisper. Right against the wood. Come back. I opened it. And there was nothing. Just the same old coats, shoes, dust. But when I stepped back into the room, the walls had changed. Everything outside the closet was now mirrored. And the room was empty. No furniture. No lights. Just a copy of my bedroom with no exit. And then, something stepped out of the reflection. It was me, but not. His face was stretched. Its eyes too wide. Its mouth kept twitching like it was trying to form a smile, but couldn't remember how. It raised a hand, and so did I. It mirrored me perfectly, but when I stopped moving, it stepped forward, and said in my exact voice, "Now you see it." Then everything went dark. I woke up on the floor. Sunlight poured through the window. Warm, soft, comforting. For a second, I thought I dreamed the whole thing. The closet was closed. The apartment was normal. Even the glasses, they were on the nightstand right where I'd left them days ago. I laughed. Actually laughed. Out loud. God, what a nightmare. What the hell had I eaten? I got up, went to the bathroom, splashed cold water on my face, looked in the mirror, and froze, because my reflection blinked. A second too late, I stood there unmoving, staring. It stared back, then it smiled. But I didn't. I stepped back. It stayed still. My hands trembled. I turned away, fast, and left the bathroom. But something felt off. The hallway was too quiet. The shadows too still. My phone was missing. And when I looked out the window, the city was frozen. Cars parked mid-turn. People standing perfectly still on the sidewalk. Like someone had pressed pause on the world. I ran to the front door. It opened, but there was no hallway, no building, no stairs. Just the closet. Endless. Dark. Waiting. And behind me, in the reflection of the TV screen, I saw myself, but not me. Smiling. Standing perfectly still. Not blinking. Just watching. And then the TV turned on by itself. Black screen. White letters. Now you belong to us. They never took my body. They took my place. And I see them now. Through every screen. Every dark glass. Every reflective surface. So if you ever buy a pair of glasses, and things start to look too clear, take them off, before they see that you see them. Because once they know, they don't go away. They just wait, until you're alone.